So hey, welcome guys and gals to the part 2 of the 7th house astrology episode, and today we'll be discussing the rest of the points and try to cover up the 7th house in astrology as a whole. So we already had discussed the 7th house in detail, and there are few points left in the 7th house episode. We'll try to wrap it up fast in this very episode. So let's get going and take up the other points that we got to study in the 7th house. Let's say is people other than us. Okay. Now, since I told you that this is the 7th house in Vedic astrology, and it is the first house in Vedic astrology. If you have seen my first house videos, I told you that first house in Vedic astrology is the house of the self. It is the house that represents our desires, our inclination, our interests. Likewise, since the 7th house is opposite the first house, it represents the other people. So basically, the lord of the lord of the 7th house, or the planets placed in the 7th house, they actually tell us that how we behave in our partnerships, be it with the partnership of friendship, be it with the partnership of marriage, be it be any kind of a business partnership. So it is from the 7th house that we decipher out that what kind of that how we behave in the partnerships in general. And what if Mars? Of course, I have a habit of giving the examples, and because that's the best way. When you get the examples, just mugging up the stuff won't work. But if I give you the examples, it kind of gives you a visionary. It kind of gives you an image of how the things are operating like. So you are more able to connect with the subject rather than by using the complex terminologies like lordships and the things like that. So what if a planet like Mars comes into the 7th house? Well, the presence of Mars in the 7th house. Well, what is Mars? Mars is our self-effort, courage. Mars is it's kind of a like Ketu. Ketu and Mars are kind of a similar planets. Although Ketu is the shadow planet of Mars, but Mars is that enemy, that soldier-like mentality, whose only way of going about in relationships is through exercising his superiority, his commandership on the other people. And Mars is an enemy which does not use its head. It just takes orders from the ministers. That is, it just takes orders from either the Sun or the Jupiter or the Venus, and he would try. What he's expert at is carrying out the task that has been assigned or designated to it. So if it has been told by Jupiter or by Sun or by Venus to butcher down a particular enemy of their kingdom, then Mars is good at executing this task. But the presence of Mars in the 7th house can actually be very chaotic in terms of the relationships, especially the personal relationships like marriage or the relationships of friendship, because in such relationships of marriage or friendship, these are very soft and sophisticated kind of relationships, unlike the business partnerships. In these friendships or the marriage alliances, you don't want a presence of Mars in there, because Mars here kind of he kind of exercises his superiority and commandership over the other person. He's very aggressive in relationships, and in the relationships there is no place for the things like aggression or violence. Relationships flourish when there is mutual coordination and cooperation from both the sides. Relationships work when you put your head onto the table, when you use your prudency and the discretionary levels as to how you shall go about in a relationship, so that it flourishes. It doesn't end up, so that it flourishes ahead. So the presence of Mars can create a little bit of chaos in a marriage. Now, does that mean that if you have Mars in this 7th house, your marriage will be full of chaotic, or you're gonna end up getting divorced? No, nothing of that sort, because many more things go into consideration. What if Mars is in the 7th house, but it is placed in a very, very good sign, or is it exalted, or the Lord of the 7th house is beautifully placed or let's suppose if Mars is present in this house, and Jupiter is present in this house, Mars is present in this house, and Jupiter is aspecting Mars, then obviously the severity of that aggression is going to come down. Then what can happen is that you might be aggressive in your dealings, but still yours would be a very channelized aggression. Whenever you feel that something that your partner is doing is not right, then only you would shout, or you would aggressively tell that person that, hey, what you're doing is not ethical, or what you're doing is something that I cannot tolerate, so you need to fix that stuff up. So range of things are to be considered in astrology before making any prediction. And guys, like I told you that one single planetary placement, we cannot make the firm judgment or a firm prediction just by a single planetary placement. So even the presence of Mars does not necessarily mean that your relationship will be chaotic. Like I just gave the example that if Jupiter is aspecting such a Mars, then the severity of that that aggression gonna come down. And what if Mars is exalted and it's receiving aspect from the Jupiter at the same time? Then it could be the case that you could meet somebody who would be very aggressive, yet her aggression or your aggression towards her or vice versa would be a very channelized aggression, in the sense that either of you would be a very timid personality while the other person would be very aggressive, and this person would help you become a little more active, become a little more agile, so that you could go out, so that when you step out there in the world, people don't take undue advantage of you. You could meet up a partner, or the presence of Mars indicate that you or your partner might use their aggression to protect you from the rest of the world. But Mars is it creates a chaos, it creates a kind of aggression in the relationship, and the relationship doesn't flourish when Mars is in the 7th house. But it has a positive side to it, because Mars in 7th house can bring you a lot of professional success, because of the fact that like I told, that this is the big bad dirty world that we are operating in. When we leave our house, we are out there signing deals with people who literally want to stab us, we are into that competitive zone wherein people may stab us, may butcher us down, and not only that, they would walk over our dead body in order to move up ahead in the ladder. But Mars, the presence of Mars here symbolizes a very aggressive that you are very aggressive in your dealings. So whosoever you are dealing with, this person will know that this guy is not to be easily trifled with. He is very aggressive in his dealings and in his relationships. This guy cannot be taken advantage of. And Mars here pushes you to just move out of the house and interact with people one after the other. Mars is a planet who is regularly on the move, like some soldier or some hippie tribal group in the jungles that you see on Discovery. Mars is that kind of a personality, so it can bring you a lot of professional fame. And what if now we have discussed Mars, what if planet like Sun is present in the 7th house? Well, the presence of Sun, although it is considered there is a great amount of misconception that Saturn doesn't do well in the 7th house, but it's the Sun that is the planet that can ruin up the marriage. It's not Saturn. Saturn does beautiful in the 7th house. Sun is a planet, when Sun comes into the 7th house, it disturbs the relationship. It it can even lead to divorce. And of course, the things would change if Sun is receiving an aspect from Jupiter or a planet like Moon, or the Lord of the 7th house is well placed. But if Sun is placed in the 7th house and it is debilitated, or it is receiving aspects from its enemies like Rahu, Ketu, or Saturn, then there are fair chances of divorce. And why am I saying this? Because Sun, what is sun? Sun is that ball of heat that is there up in the sky, shining and enhancing its glory. And it loves the fact that the other planets of the solar system surround up, move around this fatherly figure called sun. Sun is our ego. Sun is our self-esteem. Sun is that king that is blessed with a charismatic, magnetic, dynamic, and a very powerful aura. He is blessed with that rare blend of intelligence, wisdom, wit, power, persona, luck. So this personality, Sun, he is blessed with every kind of luxuries in life, be it be the palatable palaces that he lives in, or be it be the array of servants who are all around him, in order to make sure that he doesn't have to get up from his seat and go into the kitchen, or he's surrounded by servants who make sure that the master doesn't have to sacrifice even an iota of his or her comfort zone. So here here the presence of sun indicates that sun feels like he is going into the market. He is going into the market in order to strike the deals, and this is very humiliating for sun, because sun is a savior. Sun considers himself to be royal. So instead of going in the market and striking the deals, he feels that this is something that is hurting my ego, because I am such a personality, I am blessed with such an aura that people come to me for when they are stuck in any kind of problems. I can help them with a political hold that I have, or I can help them with the wealth that I have in plenty. Why do I need to go out in the market and strike the deals with people when I have kgs of gold, when I have kgs of diamonds, lying up there, and I haven't even wore them? Then why should I go there in the market and interacting and doing the kind of Saturnian job that is business? That why should I be going there? So the presence of sun here indicates that there are ego battles in that kind of a relationship, wherein one of the partners is like that he is not ready to compromise. One of the partner or either of the two feels that I am the best person in the house. I'll take care. I lead the relationship. You got to follow what all I say. If I dictate you something that has to be done, it's my final verdict. It's that line or that boundary that I have put in that shouldn't be crossed. And this is where things go haywire, because why the other people why the other partner would stay with such a person who is so egoistic in nature, and there isn't any space for ego in a relationship. So the presence of sun can actually lead to divorce if it is not enjoying an aspect from a benefic or its friend, or if the lord of the seventh house is not well placed. But sun, like Saturn, can bring you fame over here, because when this figure called sun moves in the market, like you can imagine if Brad Pitt or a political person like Narendra Modi in India, or Barack Obama, if this person was to walk on a street, normally he would be recognized, and people or the paparazzi would be out there clicking his pictures. So he would be recognized in society as something very big. So although in the professional life, now if tomorrow Barack Obama comes up to me and says that I got to buy a product from you, so I myself know that since he is that supreme figure controlling the world's biggest economy, then he must have thought something that is of mutual success, that can bring us the mutual success to him, to me. So I would not use my prudency or the discretionary levels. I'll, without thinking, sign up that deal. So this figure called sun can like Mars, it can bring you professional fame, but it kind of like Mars doesn't do that well when it comes to the professional relationships. Now, what if the planet like Saturn is present in the 7th house? Well, there are a lot of misconceptions that Saturn here in the presence of Saturn in the 7th house can make you marry a widow, can make you marry a wife twice your age. It can lead to divorce. It can lead to a lot of trouble in marriage. Well, all of that is total shit, because Saturn here, Saturn, this seventh house originally carries the energy of Libra, and Saturn gets exalted in Libra. That is, Saturn performs most beautifully in either Libra or in the seventh house. Or out of all the 12 signs or houses, Saturn performs the best in this house. And why? Because Saturnian person knows that if it has to reach anywhere close to that sun, he will have to keep in check his ego, and he will have to go out there in the market, strike the deal with the merchant, sell his products, indulge in networking of any sort, so that he could market his products from one person to the other. And the word of marketing makes whatever his business is like, makes his business a known business. And why this thing is said that Saturn is kind of the placement of Saturn is very hard to deal with it here. Well, that is because of the reason that Saturn here indicates a delayed marriage. Wherever Saturn is placed, it gives you results. When it gives you results late, it doesn't give you results when the timing for that, when you want them. So while you might be wanting to get married, or you might be wanting to strike the good deals with the people, Saturn here can actually give you quite a tough time. So you might go into far too many relationships before marriage. It can make you go into far too many relationships into marriage, and those relationships would ultimately broke up after some time or the other before you enter the final marriage, because it wants to teach you the lessons of life, that how the partnerships flourish, how the things are to be done. It is here to teach you that the things are not rosy in marriage. It's not about cuddles and kisses, or those intimate encounters, or it's not a cherry on that cake that you can just pick, that you can just run like Usain Bolt, pick up and savor it. Relationships demand a lot of sacrifice from your side. It teaches you that the relationship demands a lot of compromise and mutual coordination and support for each other. So finally, when you have learned a lesson from all those relationships, it blesses you with a partner that will take care of you, that will bring into your life a lot of joy. So it's although you will marry late, maybe the presence of Saturn in this house can indicate the marriage between 30 to 35, or although there is no particular figure, but it is generally 30 to 35 in this modern day context. So, and it is quite likely that you might meet somebody who is what does Saturn indicate? Saturn indicates profession. Saturn indicates the unprivileged people in the society who do the menial jobs. Saturn indicates a service for the downtrodden. So you might meet a girl or a partner who is very sound and structured like Saturn, and he or she that you may marry might be a professional, or might be a structure oriented person. So does that mean that the romance aspect when this with this Saturn in the seventh house kind of fades off? No, absolutely not. At the end, you may get a wife who may give you the greatest amount of physical pleasure, greatest amount of sexual pleasure, and but her foray is like that. Hey, honey, now we shall understand that we have had a lot of romances, a lot of kissing, a lot of intimate encounters, but we got to take life seriously from here onwards. We got to do the family planning. We got to save money in order to ensure the safe future of our kids, and in order to save our own future. So it kind of this wife or the partner you meet, she kind of pushes you to work hard, to become more disciplined, to become more to become more lawful in your approach to life. And the dryness comes because in marriage you don't want that partner to tell you that you should work hard, you should be doing this, you because everybody in the world would tell you that, or your parents would tell you that, but you want your partner to cuddle you, to kiss you, to at least you don't want your partner to talk about all those business kind of stuff. At least most of those people don't want that. That is the only reason why Saturn is considered to be negative in this seventh house. Otherwise, it just does remarkably well, because the presence of Saturn is all for the service for the unprivileged and the downtrodden. So even if you are sick, even if you are a person who is not rich, who is not wealthy, then the person you meet at the end, it is worth the wait, and the person that you meet in the end would take care of you, would take care of you like anybody else. Nobody else won't. She or he, the whosoever your partner might be, he will love you for the person you are, and not for your wealth, or for your health, or for your facial or the physical strength. She'll love you for the person you are. So Saturn, although gives results late here, but when it gives results, it's kind of a long-lasting relationship, because Saturn is all about the conservative style. So when the presence of Saturn is there, it tells you that relationships are to be maintained for a very long time. So quite likely are the chances that you may marry a mature person. Doesn't necessarily mean that you will marry a widow, or marry a person twice your age. She might, while you might be in 35, you might marry a girl in the early 20s, but it indicates that a girl in the early 20s would carry the maturity levels as is expected of the person in the early 40s. She might be quite mature as compared to the other people of her age. It just simply means that. So guys, taking up the last point, and although I make a separate episode of what calls for, what are the possible combinations that can lead to a love marriage, but since we are discussing the house of marriage, at least you must have something on your mind that this guy might tell something about the marriage, and to a fair extent I would do, but I need at least 1 hour to cover this whole aspect, which I'll be wrapping up in 1 minute or 2 minutes. So don't take this stuff that seriously, but it is just it just indicates to an extent that are you a person made for the love marriage or not. So if the seventh house lord is placed, if the seventh house lord is placed in the eighth house, then it is an indicative of the love marriage. Why? Because like I told you, that eighth house partnerships are very secret, wherein you may marry a person from the different caste, creed or color, or you may marry him for money, you may marry him for any secret reason, where you are in relationship with that person, and it is not known to somebody, not known to others. So the things like that, and this happens in love marriage, wherein you kind of don't share your love story with at least your parents, until unless you are very sure of the fact that they're gonna accept your partner. So the presence of the seventh house lord in the eighth house can indicate a love marriage. Or if the seventh house lord is aspected by the eighth house lord, or the seventh house lord is aspected by the planet placed in the eighth house, then there are fair chances that you may have a love marriage. I'll give you an example. You might have seen numbers written over here, like I shall put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Although the houses remain the same, this will always remain the first house. And now this particular house has the symbol 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Although there is a seventh house, but this seventh house is a sign of Scorpio. So that's Mars. If Mars is placed in this eighth house, then it is an indicator of love marriage. Or if, let's suppose, if a planet, if Mars is placed, let's suppose, let's suppose if Mars is placed here and Jupiter is placed here, then it can lead to marriage too, because Jupiter aspects the Jupiter aspects the places 5, 5th, 7th and 9 to itself. So the lord of this 7th house is Mars. It is placed in the 12th house in the sign of Aries. And Jupiter, if we count from Jupiter, Jupiter aspects the places 5th and 7th from where it is placed. So Jupiter will aspect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jupiter will put its aspect here. Jupiter will put its aspects here. Jupiter will put its aspect here. So since Mars is the 7th house lord, is aspected by Jupiter, which is the 8th house, so this 7th house lord will have the energy of the 8th house, which is indicative of the love marriage. And what else can lead to love marriage? Well, if I take out this example, if you have planet Venus or Jupiter placed in this 8th house in any sign, then also it is indicative of love marriage, because of the fact that Venus indicates the wife in a man's chart, and Venus and Jupiter collectively indicates the man in a woman's chart. So their presence into the 8th house can also is indicative of the love marriage. And the third indication of love marriage is that if the 7th house lord is placed into the 5th house, because 5th house is the house of romance, so your partner would be your romantic partner, that is the partner you were dating. Or if the 7th house lord is placed in the 9th house, because 9th house is the house of long distance journeys, that is, you are going to a foreign country and coming back, so you may marry somebody of the foreign land. Or if 7th house lord is placed in the 12th house, then also it could indicate that yours might be a love marriage, because 12th house is the house of foreign lands, while the 9th house represents going to a foreign land and coming back. 12th house represents permanent settlement into the foreign land. So here in this example, Mars is the planet that rules the 7th house. So if Mars is present in the 5th house, or Mars is present in the 9th house, or Mars is present in the 12th house, or Mars is present in the 8th house, these are the indications that you might marry somebody out of your own country, out of your own caste, creed or religion. So these are the possible indications of love marriage. So guys, although just don't take those this love marriage thing too seriously, because a lot of other things, although these are also the firm indicators of a love marriage, but a lot of other things goes into it, which we'll be gradually learning over time. So you will have to wait for it. But these things are kind of very solid, give very solid results. If any of these things is happening in your horoscope, then there are possible chances of love marriage. So guys, on that note, this is your host Rishu signing off. We are completed with the 7th house astrology episode. So for those of you who want to see me again, please do subscribe to my channel in order to get the regular feeds. And if you want to get updated about whenever I put up a video, please do subscribe to my channel. Till then, I bid you goodbye. I say you namaste, shabak khair, bonjour. Enjoy your day. Try to find the purpose of your life. Stay happy always, no matter how bad the situation is. So this is your shining off. Love you.